Halloween event is approaching TDS, and everyone is excited for the Halloween event. However, some people are also scared that the Halloween event will be just Lunar Overture all over again. But why are people so scared of a silly guy called narrator? This is not just your ordinary event. This is Lunar Over- Wait, wrong image. This is Lunar Overture. Lunar Overture was fiercely teased with this image. It showed the date for both update and event launch. And surely enough, update arrived. As I said before, the update included only Battle Pass, not event. So let's talk about Battle Pass, cause why not? This Battle Pass actually was divided by 2 parts, and was a grind to complete. When it comes to rewards, it was similar to Solar Eclipse Battle Pass, except Deluxe Crate was removed. Was it worth the grind? Honestly, yes. Despite Deluxe Crate being extinct, the skins are amazing and emotes are fun. But now, let's proceed to the event itself. Act 1, here we go. Act 1 was released October 28, 2024, and was the first of 3 acts the event had. It introduced a brand new map-changing mechanic, which was also used in Act 2 and Christmas event after. What this event also introduced was more billion bugs on release, which was detrimental due to another thing debuting in the Lunar Overture. Limited UGC. Basically, after winning, you had a chance of getting one of these accessories. But it's called limited UGC for a reason. All of these have a limited stock, and if it runs out, you can't get them anymore. This is exactly why people were forced to rush in if they wanted to get at least one of them. And bugs on release such as event matchmaking not working pissed off the community a lot. Honestly, the implementation of limited UGC in the Lunar Overture was dog water, but we will talk about that later on. Back to the Act 1. It also introduced cutscenes, which were also pretty bugged, but aside from that were really nicely done. Cutscenes and event overall even contained lore, but it quickly failed due to future reasons. Act 1 in terms of gameplay wasn't very difficult as it should be, with the boss being Executioner, who later appeared in Act 3 as normal enemy. Overall, Act 1 was generally well received. However, there was some outrage due to limited UGC, but again, we will talk about it later. But now, let's talk about Act 2. Act 2 was released October 31, 2023, and it continued the trend of having a second map. However, in comparison to Act 1, Act 2 cutscene was way shorter, and there was only 1 cutscene instead of 3 like in Act 1, implying the main problem of the event, which I will reveal later on. In terms of difficulty, people firstly unironically though that Act 2 is impossible. However, later on it was revealed that you can pretty easily solo it. This is because when playing in solo, Act 2 provided shit ton of cash, especially in later waves, and also because there was a bug where final boss just got stuck near the entrance and couldn't move, making him a punching bag. Speaking of final boss, it was Return of Jacko-Bot, who had 350,000 hit points but was compensated by having slow speed. A funny thing was that while he has his own theme, it wasn't playing due to a bug. Act 2 also had limited UG and also had negative opinions because of that. In terms of lore, it fell off quite a bit due to lack of cutscenes. Act 2 also became the best act to grind pumpkins for Battle Pass, as it had lots of enemies, meaning it also had lots of enemies with pumpkins on their head. And these enemies dropped pumpkins for Battle Pass. In general, Act 3 was also received well by the player base minus Europeans raging at release date. However, they are about to rage even more as we are moving into the reason why Lunar Overture has such bad image in eyes of players. Get ready for fun time, as next is Act 3. Act 3 was released November 12, 2023, and this is where everything went downhill. First of all, this act was delayed an ungodly amount of times, which is by itself is bad enough. But it gets worse. When Act 3 got released, people quickly realized that they got robbed. First of all, map changing was not featured here, meaning that there was only 1 map, and to make it worse, this map was Defend the Center, which was already used into previous events. Secondly, cutscenes are also gone, which made this act look very lazy compared to the previous, despite being finale while also completely making the whole lore stuff irrelevant. Thirdly, the final boss was disappointing as well. Instead of fighting narrator himself or Lord Exo, you fought to hands from Super Smash Bros, which you could only damage with weird spotlight thing. And finally, the difficulty of Act 3 was unbalanced piece of shit, especially on release. Even getting past first few waves was a challenge. while Final Wave was literally impossible due to amount of enemies invading you from all sides and hands killing and stunning your towers. And afterwards it got nerfed to the point where you could solo the entire thing with Golden Soldier. Oh yeah, and it also had limited UG as well. Except now there are 4 of them, and first one was guaranteed to first 50,000 winners. At least the reward in form of Jester Tower was good. The situation was so miserable that people wanted to believe that they are actually getting tricked and actual Act 3 is coming soon. But that never happened. Overall, Act 3 was trashed by pretty much everyone. But then the main reason why Act 3 was so bad was revealed by the testers. It turned out that Act 3 was incredibly rushed, with one of tester quoting from developers balancing is not a priority at this moment. This was the reason why Act 3 on release was impossible and then became a joke of a game design. In my opinion, this is incredibly dumb decision. They should have delayed Act 3 without giving another deadline and then make an actual balanced experience, despite being inferior to Act 1 and 2. But now, let's mention another large problem with Lunar Overture, free limited UGC. The moment when I saw that they are adding limited UGC to the event, I knew it's not gonna age well. First of all, the whole event in first days of Acts releasing turned into really toxic and RNG-based competition, where people who got UGC were flexing at people who got nothing, obviously making them mad. This ruins the entire point of event, which is to have fun, as you would only have true fun if you got UGC, because otherwise you would be mad that you didn't get all rewards, which is really demotivating. Secondly, it was really time zone based. For example, to get this silly UGC, you had to complete the obby in lobby of event. An event got released at like AM for Europe. Basically, if you were in Europe, you were not able to get this UGC unless your Discord mod, as the UGC got sold out in less than 10 minutes, if I recall correctly. And this was true for the entire event, so if you lived in Europe you had constant disadvantage, which is unfair. So overall, free limited UGC just made the event even more hated. This event also introduced Umbra Plushie, which was a commander skin. Pretty cool, right? Overall, while some people defend Lunar Overture, in general it doesn't have very good image to say the least. There were way too many mistakes made by the developers, which led for Lunar Overture to arguably be the worst event in all of TDS history. This is sad because this event truly had potential to be great, but it is what it is. Let's hope upcoming Halloween event won't repeat mistakes made by Lunar Overture. See you on the next one. Bye.